Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Beast! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available summer 2023, the album, Dad, Shimmy Shimmy AF. Rock on, gold dust woman. Beast! Alright, let's get into this video, shall we? I wasn't even going to do my intro for this video because, to be really honest with you, I don't even really want to make this video. So, I got tons and tons and tons of messages of people requesting me to make this video. People wanting me to respond to Trisha Paytas and what seemingly is her apology tour. And mostly about the fact that she had a podcast where Dr. Drew was her guest. And in the video, she apparently made apologies to the DID community and the trans community. So, that is pretty specifically what this video is about today. And for example, like, I'm just going to read you one of the messages that I got, but I got tons of messages about this, you guys. Somebody said, Peter, have you seen Trisha Paytas' video on her, Peter, have you seen Trisha Paytas' video on her addressing accountability for some things? I was wondering why you haven't spoken about it yet, since it's what you've been saying she needs to be doing for ages. Would love to hear your thoughts on it and the whole Dr. Drew episode. So, I want to kind of explain a few things, okay? And this is not pointed at any one person. I want to make that very, very clear, all right? I came out recently and I talked about how I am being horribly harassed and stalked, okay? And how I am handling that behind the scenes, which I am doing. One of the things that I noticed when I started looking into many of the accounts that were harassing me was that, and many of these accounts have been, they've taken themselves down, they no longer exist, and things like that. I would say the main ones that were doing this to me. The commonality was that they were either super stans of Trisha Paytas or super haters of Trisha Paytas, okay? And like I said, this is not pointed at any one person. The majority of the people that were doing this to me have taken their accounts down, okay? So they aren't even active on social media anymore. Or if they are, they're active on new accounts that, you know, that aren't like focused completely just on Trisha Paytas, because they're like out there hiding under fake accounts and things like that. When I made my most recent videos talking about Trisha Paytas addressing the situation with Colleen Ballinger and things like that, I noticed that I got an influx, okay, in a lot of the hate that I had been receiving. And when I kind of looked back historically, what I noticed was that every time that I would make a video about Trisha Paytas, where I was either holding her accountable, which I proved in a past video where I came out and I talked about Trisha Paytas, and I said, for those of you that have watched my videos for a long time, if you believe that I've held her accountable about lies and being offensive to many communities and things like that, please put it in the comment section below. And literally the comment section was just flooded with people saying, yes, Peter, you have held Trisha Paytas accountable for a very, very long time, okay? So what I noticed in looking back was that whether I held Trisha Paytas accountable or whether I felt like something that she was doing was admirable or whatnot, and I felt that she was showing some growth, it didn't really matter what I said. It didn't matter, you know, if I was, you know, holding Trisha Paytas accountable and saying that nothing that she would ever do would be right and that she needed to come out with some kind of, you know, dedicated video of an apology, which I do believe that. Or if I came out and I said that, you know, she was making a lot of changes and that she was showing growth and that was what the majority of people were saying. It didn't really matter what I said, right? It didn't really matter what side I stood on. That I noticed that there was an influx, okay, in the things that were happening behind the scenes with people that were coming for me. And I really noticed that on the last video that I made about her, that it really hadn't happened since I had come out and I had talked about being harassed and stalked. And then I made a video about Trisha Paytas, and again it happened. And so I was like, you know what, this is consistent with, and if I look back historically, it seems to be pretty consistent that, I mean, it's constant, right? But it seems to kind of have an influx around the times that I talk about Trisha Paytas. And I know that this probably seems simple to many of you out there, or like ridiculous, that me talking about a certain social media figure would bring a lot of hate. And what's interesting to me is that there are YouTubers that are literally getting 300,000 to 500,000 views making Trisha Paytas videos. I'm not a huge YouTuber on that level. I maybe get like 15,000 to 20,000 views talking about Trisha Paytas. And I don't believe, because I've talked to some of those people that are, you know, really hard or really, you know, fair and or really, you know, for Trisha Paytas all across the board, they aren't really getting the same kind of like stalking and harassment that I'm getting. So I don't know what it is about what I say in my videos that gets people so stirred up, but it is very obvious to me that no matter what I say about Trisha Paytas, that I suffer as a result of that, okay? And so, in all honesty, I have held Trisha Paytas accountable for many, many years. I will continue to make videos about Trisha Paytas. You know, she came out and she talked about Swoop's video, of which Swoop talked about Trisha in the video. And I think she talked about it in a dedicated video that she did on her channel. I have not watched it yet. I think she also talked about it in her podcast. I have not watched that yet. And I thought that I would make that video, and in all honesty, because so many people asked me to respond to this apology that she did in this podcast today, and I sat down and I watched this podcast. What was that noise? I sat down and I watched this podcast. It's like an hour and 36 minutes long, and I sat down here right now and I watched it, and just the whole time watching it, to be honest with you, I feel like, and this is where people will say, well, you care about this person, but you don't care about Trisha anymore. Or you want to hold Colleen Ballinger and James Charles accountable, but you don't care about Trisha. I have held Trisha accountable for many, many years, okay? I will continue to make Trisha Paytas videos at the expense that my personal life is greatly affected. Whether I am being fair, whether I am holding her accountable, or whether I am saying that she has grown as a person, it doesn't matter what I say. My personal life is greatly affected by making Trisha Paytas videos. But I will continue to make Trisha Paytas videos. I don't know when. I don't know if it'll be another week. I'll have to wait. Because when I was watching this podcast today, I was just kind of like, in all honesty, I really don't care. I mean, I don't care that deeply, and I feel like I have said so much of what I have needed to say about Trisha Paytas that at this point, she's either going to change or she's not going to change, okay? Like, I mean, I don't really know what else new to say about it. You know, so that's kind of where I'm at with it, and, you know, I think it's like this new thing. I've gotten a lot of threats from people for making Colleen Ballinger videos and I'm just a commentary channel. I know the victims that have come out and shared their stories about Colleen Ballinger have received many, many threats. I myself have received threats as well, okay? So I don't know that it's just isolated to Trisha Paytas, but like I said, every time I make a Trisha Paytas video, I do notice an influx in the hate and the prying into my personal life. And so I have to really be in a good mental state when I make a video. But since so many people asked me to make this video responding, this is the other thing going forward. You know, for a very long time, I have just shared what I believe that I see in videos to do with Trisha Paytas. If y'all don't agree with me, if y'all think I'm giving her a free pass, if y'all think I'm being too hard on her, you guys can start your own channels and you guys can talk about Trisha Paytas all you want, okay? I am just one opinion. I leave my comment section to open unless you guys are vile and cruel, nasty and threatening. Feel free to leave your comment or your opinion in the comment section below, but by all means, okay, if you do not agree and you guys want to have your own opinion, please feel free to start your own YouTube channel and share your opinion about Trisha Paytas over there, okay? Anybody can do it. I'm just one opinion, all right? And I'm going to continue to share what I see in videos. You're not going to always agree with it, and I know a lot of people won't agree. It won't matter what I say today in this video, and I already know that. I already know that people are going to say I'm not being hard enough on Trisha and that I'm giving her a free pass. I already know people are going to say, oh, well, Trisha's shown so much growth, you know, and how can you say, it doesn't matter. I know that I'm going to get both sides of the fence, okay? Because I can say and cover one video, and people, in the same video that I cover, some people will say you gave her a free pass, and other people will say you were too hard on her. So it really doesn't matter what I say. I believe that Trisha Paytas is the most polarizing character on YouTube. Absolutely, 100%, okay? So Trisha Paytas has kind of gone on this apology tour. She recently came out with these TikToks where she was apologizing to Addison Rae and to Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio. They were dedicated TikToks where she showed what she had said and she took responsibility for it and she apologized for it, okay? So she did those in dedicated TikToks. Dedicated videos to specific people. And I've said for a long time that she needed to do this. You know, and I can only speculate. It's interesting to me that Trisha does a TikTok here and a TikTok there apologizing to somebody. Then she kind of threads kind of an apology through this Dr. Drew thing and comes out here and comes out there. It's like, why can you not just sit down in a dedicated video and apologize to all of the people that you hurt, okay? And, you know, part of her thing is that Dr. Drew says something about, like, why isn't she addressed this time? She's like, well, I don't really want to relive it and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so that's her excuse for it. She doesn't want to relive it. That's why she doesn't want to talk about it. So, she came out with this Addison Rae and this Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio apology, and I was like, okay, it's TikTok. It's going to get a lot of traction. And this is the thing, okay, is that at this point, is Trisha doing it for attention? Is Trisha doing it because she really feels this way? I don't know. Only Trisha knows that, okay? Several years ago, and I'm bringing this up because a lot of people think that Trisha was referring to me in her interview with Dr. Drew, which she may have been. I don't know. But they were talking about addiction issues that Trisha Paytas has. And she said in the podcast, she said something to the effect of, several years ago, when I was talking about my addiction issues, another addict online came out and said that I was lying, that I wasn't an addict, okay? And Dr. Drew's response to that is, he might have been on to something. Basically saying that if she's talking about me, that I was right, okay? Well, I'm very confused about this, first of all. If you go back and watch the video, and I am going to address this because this was a very serious thing that happened to me. It was a video that Trisha Paytas was laying in bed, and she talked about to hundreds of thousands of people that she was taking herself off drugs, okay? As a person that has been sober for 28 and a half years, that worked in a treatment facility, I felt that it was negligent, okay? To tell her audience that they could also she was basically sharing her experience, which other people will be like, well, if Trisha can do it, I can do it too. That they could white knuckle it at home. When I have had friends of mine that have died trying to take themselves off of drugs. That is what I said in the video. If you go back and you watch the video at the beginning of it, I said, I don't know if Trisha Paytas is telling the truth or if she's not, okay? Because Trisha has been caught in a lot of lies. So is she telling the truth or is she not? I didn't come out and say she was not an addict. I never said that in the video. That's apparently what she heard in the video, but that's not what I said, okay? Trisha made a response to that and put a description box in there saying that when I had done a video with her years ago, that I brought evil into her home, okay? And that she couldn't believe that I was talking to her. I got so much backlash. So for those people out there that want to say, this was the beginning of it for me, okay? For people out there that want to say that I don't hold Trisha Paytas accountable, I got a lot of hate and backlash over the fact that I called Trisha Paytas out for being negligent to her audience and saying that she was white-knuckling herself off of this, okay? So now you have Trisha Paytas in a video, years later, coming out and saying that, to Dr. Drew, that there was this addict online that said that she lied and she wasn't an addict, which isn't what I said, but let's just go with that and say that that is what I said, right? And he says, well, there might be something to that. Well, she's not bashing him all over the internet for what he just said, and he agreed with me, okay? Which I don't really care about being right, all right? I'd rather be happy, which is why I don't make that many Trisha Paytas videos anymore. But I did want to go back into my DMs because I believed that Trisha had apologized to me, okay, about making my life a living hell. Because she came out with this video bashing me, put it in the description box. I got a lot of hate for it. And at the time that this happened, when she is nonstop texting me, okay, about what I said about her and all this kind of stuff, I am at my husband's best friend's funeral that had tragically died in a car accident. She knew that. I was at the funeral in Kentucky. I texted Trisha. I said, Trisha, I am at a funeral. I cannot talk about this right now. Alex's husband, he just died tragically in a car accident, okay? I cannot talk about, she just bombarded me with texts. Don't ever talk about me again. You're this, you're nasty, blah, 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 whatever. I've never shared those text messages on video. But since she can't let that go, I don't have a problem doing that at some point, okay? But I just want to share that she came out, hold on a second. This was February 18th of 2021, okay? Now, we are, what is this, 2 years later and 2.5 years later, and she's still talking about this when she says in here that she apologizes for enough time has passed, that she got over her feelings, and she apologizes if she made me feel any type of way, and I apologize to her as well. Girl, why are you still bringing this up if you're over it? If you're a changed person, what she's saying here, that you don't like to hold on to this kind of stuff or have any enemies, why are you still holding on to it, girl? Let it go, okay? Furthermore, at that time, I got so much crap for saying that we don't know, because Trisha Paytas has come out with so many things, and we don't know if Trisha Paytas is lying or not. When I tell you the amount of hate that I got over saying that Trisha Paytas might be lying in a video, I think a lot of people think Trisha Paytas has lied in videos today, right? But I said it in 2021, yet another time, okay? Like, for example, when I came out and said that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star's palette was a cash grab, I got so much hate over that, okay? But when I said in a video that we don't know if Trisha Paytas is telling the truth or not because she's been known to lie, I got a lot of hate for that, right? You think all those people that unsubscribed to me, all those people that sent me hate, you think they've apologized to me? No, I haven't. I received a lot of hate for that, okay? And continue to this day. Even though Trisha and I apologized to each other 2.5 years ago. I don't know why. I'm so confused by all this, right? Okay. So, Trisha Paytas gets in this video with Dr. Drew. Now, I like Dr. Drew. I've watched him for years and years and years. I think he knows his stuff, right? The first thing is that I'm getting all these comments from people that are saying, Trisha's grown so much. Trisha's showing so much growth and all this kind of stuff. Her video, the podcast, is called Addressing Trisha Paytas' Past Scandals and Controversies with Dr. Drew, okay? She addresses some of the past scandals and controversies. I would say maybe 1/20th of the controversies, maybe 1/50th or 1/60th of the controversies does she address in the video, okay? She addresses 2 or 3 things, really. That's it, okay? Then people are saying that she's changed and she's grown and Dr. Drew's helping her so much. I don't know which video you watched, and I just sat down here and watched it. I'm giving you a live reaction right after I watched it. He gives Trisha a lot of suggestions in the video that she's like, but, and then she goes on to tell him why that won't work for her. He even says in there and kind of pushes the issue of maybe she should try EDMR and things like that. And she's like, well, blah, 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 blah. And she gives all these excuses for why things won't work. I don't know which video you watched, but I'm just telling you the video that I watched. The things that he says that validate her excuses, she agrees with. The things that he challenges her on that she should do work with, she challenges and she says, I don't think that will work for me, or this isn't going to work for me, or this hasn't worked for me in the past, and says all this kind of stuff, right? She isn't openly taking his suggestions. Now, I am somebody that openly goes to therapy. I've talked about my OCD on this channel. I've talked about my OCD on my Peter Does Stuff channel and on my vlog, okay? I just did a video last week called my update on my OCD directly after my therapy session, okay? I go to marriage counseling with my husband every other week. I've been in therapy for a very, very long time. I've been sober for 28.5 years. I am actively involved in a 12-step program, okay? When I go to therapy and my therapist suggests something to me, because I am paying my therapist good money and because I want to get better, the main motivation. When he suggests something to me, I do it, okay? So I don't know where you guys are seeing this huge growth in Trisha Paytas, because she's able to sit calmly in a video interview with Dr. Drew, who it's so obvious she looks up to for, and he validates a lot of her existence, and things that she's done and said, and looks at the camera and says she's not lying, she's not lying. Of course she wants somebody to sit on camera and say she's not lying about these things. I don't know if she is or not. I'm not in her head. I don't know, okay? But of course that works to her advantage, right? Okay. So, I don't see a lot of, she's pretty resistant to a lot of the suggestions that he gives her. In fact, the only thing that she really wants him to help her with is her shopping addiction. She keeps on focusing back on the shopping addiction and what can he do to help her with that. I don't know what you watched, okay? Then everybody wants to focus on these huge apologies that she did towards the DID and the trans community. Did y'all watch the same video that I did? I don't know, okay? And I'm just being honest based on the video that I literally just sat down and watched, okay? I'm not being hard on Trisha. I'm being truthful, okay? The apology part is literally about 30 seconds to a minute of an hour and 36-minute video, okay? And he basically pushes her to the point of making these apologies. And he goes, here's your opportunity. And even then, she struggles, okay? Because what she says is, but I want to make sure that it comes across as genuine. She's not worried about making the apology. She's not worried about, because he talks about making amends and righting the wrong of your past. She talks about, and she's like, and then she goes right on the next thing, right? What she says in there is, but I want to say it in a way that people will think it's genuine. That's her concern. Her concern isn't taking responsibility for it, okay? Her concern is that she is concerned that people won't take it seriously or they won't think that she's honest or genuine about it. Well, girl, you've had years to sit in a video. She kind of starts crying a little bit in the video, and you can see that it does affect her. I do believe that she is affected. I do believe there is a part of Trisha Paytas that does feel badly for some of these things, okay? But then he goes into this whole thing, and he talks a lot about borderlines, which she identifies as, and says she's been diagnosed as a borderline. And he says all these things about borderlines and feelings and emotions and all this kind of stuff, which kind of is contradictory, from his words, not hers, to her being able to take responsibility for these actions or feel empathetically towards it. But then he wants to force this apology out of her in this video, which to me seems like a very kind of like 2-cent apology, right? That she's just doing it because he's asking her to do it, but it doesn't really seem like a heartfelt apology, which she knows it's not going to come across that way because she doesn't really want to do it in the video, right? So all these people are wanting to sing her praises because she came out in a video where Dr. Drew is like, and this is your opportunity, and so she turns to he goes, turn to the camera and say it now, and she goes, well, I'm really hurt. He goes, no, say it. And she goes, well, I do feel bad. Like, I wouldn't want somebody to hurt over my trauma. Okay, there's the video, Trisha. Sit down on your own and explain how you've been hurt by other people using your trauma against you, and so you wouldn't want to use other people's trauma. She goes in this whole thing, and she says about how she trolled having DID. She talks about that in her video. Thank you for finally being honest about that. Thank you for being honest about the fact that you trolled your DID, and if she's talked about this in 2 seconds of a clip in a live stream before, I don't know about that, okay? I'm just telling you what I'm responding to. So she says that in there. Well, you trolled an entire community. She says in there she doesn't understand why these people are upset with her because she mocked communities. You literally trolled having DID. You admitted to that in this podcast, right? And yet the best you can do is turn to the camera and say, I feel really bad that other people were maybe re-traumatized or hurt. I don't even know what she says, okay, by your behavior. And then it's literally over in 30 seconds to a minute. That's her apology in the whole video. I don't know what people are going crazy about this, okay? Trisha Paytas made a lot of money off of trolling these communities, off of her lies, which she said she doesn't lie anymore, okay? But she did. She made a lot of money off those lies. She made a lot of money off of trolling videos. She made a lot of money mocking certain communities. I don't think it's a lot to ask for her to sit down and do a dedicated video, just like she did a dedicated TikTok. Do a dedicated TikTok to each one of those communities if you want. You'll get a lot of views over it, and people will be talking about it. I think her doing TikToks directly to Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio and to Addison Rae and explaining why she did it and explaining that she was jealous of Addison Rae's career and going back and explaining what her mindset was at that time, I think that is a move in the right direction of her taking accountability, okay? And her saying it's not going to happen again and she's not going to do it and she's whatever. Okay, well, we'll see. Time will tell, right? But I think that that is the beginning of making amends. And I think it's the beginning of making an apology and making amends. Why does it have to be pulled out of you by Dr. Drew for all these communities? Why can't you sit down and do a dedicated video to all the different communities or explaining why you don't feel like you owe certain people apologies? That would be a fantastic video for you. And I've said this literally now in countless videos, okay? And people will say, well, Trisha doesn't want to do it because of this, or Trisha doesn't want to do it because of that. Well, Trisha can do it when Dr. Drew is sitting next to her and pull it out of her, because that's safe, but she doesn't want to do it when, oh, my husband's home. Hey, husband! But she doesn't want to do it in her own video, in her own words, because she's afraid of how that'll come across. Well, when you're trying to right your wrongs, you're not really worried about how that will come across. You just want to right your wrongs. You know, and I've said for quite some time now that people are saying, that Trisha Paytas is showing a lot of growth, that she's staying out of drama, which I do think that she's staying out of drama, okay? She didn't ask for this Colleen Ballinger stuff to happen at all. She didn't ask to be put in the middle of that stuff, you know? And whether people want to believe it or not, yes, she is a victim of Colleen Ballinger's. And she didn't ask for any of that stuff to happen, okay? If that stuff had never happened, she wouldn't be talking about that. So, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, I think she's done a pretty good job of trying to stay out of drama to some extent. Yes, she still has been involved in some drama, but she's tried to stay out of it to some extent. I do see what people are saying when they say that she's growing and changing as a person. Dr. Drew talks about how people, when they have kids, they do change and they grow. And I do believe that. I've witnessed that with a lot of friends of mine that are in recovery, you know, that they get married and they have kids and all of a sudden it's like you're seeing a different person. So I do believe that. I hope that for Trisha. I hope that for everybody, you know. I really do. And I know that that's maybe, like I said, a very simple view, that I hope for people to have the best life possible and to grow. And he says something that's so pertinent in this, is that we don't want to use our trauma or our harm to continue to harm other people. And I think that that's probably the most important thing that was said in this video. But to not continue to harm other people, he also references making amends. You don't have to be a person in recovery to make amends. You can have harmed people and make amends and right the wrongs of your past, and then try to continue to not harm people in your future. I want that for everybody that I talk about on this channel. But do I think that a 30-second apology that Dr. Drew pulled out of her in a moment where they were talking about something is her sitting down in a dedicated video, taking responsibility for all the videos where she trolled, in her own words, offending communities? No, I don't. I think that she could do much better than that. That's my opinion. Kill me at the cross for that, but that's my opinion. And that's what I think about that. I think it was a little too late. You want people to accept your apology, get in a video, take full responsibility for it. I think the Addison Rae and the Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio, and explaining why you did it, and explaining that there was nothing right about it at the time, and explaining that where your mental state was and why you did those things, and saying that it wasn't going to happen again in the future, and apologizing and taking responsibility for it, and saying that those people don't have to accept your apology, I think that was a move in the right direction. I'd like to see her do that with all the other communities that she's offended. You know, and for all those people out there that are saying that Trisha is growing and that she's changing and whatever, for her to do that, I think would clear herself for the future. You know, there are going to be some people out there that are never, it doesn't matter what Trisha does. And there's a lot of people that are saying, well, Trisha would have to do all that to make an apology, to get in a dedicated video, and then show for several years that she doesn't continue to hurt people, right? I just saw something the other day, and in all honesty, I don't even remember what she said, but she was talking about, somebody was saying that she made these apologies, but then yet again, she was coming out and she was talking about somebody else. And I don't know who she was talking about. If that's true, then that, I think that shows that Trisha is really about the drama and she's not really about the change. But I can't remember. Somebody can put that in the comment section if they know what I'm talking about, right? But I do think it's about Trisha making changes, showing growth, taking accountability, making amends, and then not re-hurting people for years on end. I think that to show growth in somebody isn't something that just happens in 6 weeks or 6 months. I think it's something that happens over a long period of time. You know, when I got sober, it wasn't like my family in 2 weeks was ready to accept me with love and be like, oh, I'm so happy that you changed. My own father, it took several years. It took several years for my father to really believe that I had changed innately and was a different person, you know? And he had to see me walk the walk, not just talk the talk. That's my father as a person in recovery. So I don't think it's really out of the question for people to ask for Trisha to not be problematic or offend other people for a very long period of time to show that she's changed and grown. It's not just in 1 or 2 videos. And that's my opinion. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.